The following excerpt is from a seminal book by Millman titled Everyday Enlightenment, The 12 Gateways to Personal Growth. I do not own the copyright to this book. I did, however, produce the music. I wish to receive no compensation for this work, only for the listener to receive as much insight as possible. Does your life sometimes feel like a puzzle with pieces missing, or a journey without clear purpose or direction? Do you sometimes wish you had a map to your destiny, a guide to your full potential? You now hold such a map in your hands. You need only turn to this book's table of contents to discover the missing puzzle pieces, the 12 gateways that lead to personal growth. And you need only read its pages to discover how these pieces fit together to form a pattern that reveals the bigger picture and higher purpose of everyday life. Everyday Enlightenment connects the heart of spiritual teachings with the practical realities of daily life. Everyday issues like money, sex, relationships. It unravels the mystery of body, mind, and emotions to make more sense out of life. It shows how through direct application of simple insights and timeless wisdom, you can change confusion into clarity, knowledge into action, and daily life into an adventure. Dan Millman's work is unique in making this spiritual ascent attainable, favoring practical outcomes over abstract philosophy. He provides down-to-earth perspectives that refine the meaning of success to include greater physical vitality, mental focus, financial stability, and emotional freedom. He illuminates your path to personal growth by building a bridge between where you are now and where you wish to be, guiding you step by step through the 12 gateways to everyday enlightenment. As you master each gateway, you free your attention from worrying about how to pay the bills, save your relationship, or get a good night's sleep, to seeing spirit everywhere, every day, in everyone. The challenges of life remain, but your ability to handle them expands as you learn to eliminate self-sabotage, strengthen your will, and awaken your heart. You experience a simpler, happier life, and these so-called mystical states occur naturally. Are you ready to unlock the potential and reconnect with your soul's deepest yearnings? Are you ready to enter the 12 gateways? The time is now. The road is open. Your destiny awaits. This book is dedicated to you, my readers, who lend my words new meaning and purpose in your own lives. The personal path of growth leads upwards through the gauntlet of human experience to the peaks of our potential. On this journey, we encounter 12 gateways. Their purpose is evolution. Their arena is daily life. Their secret is action, and their time is now. It is good to have an end to journey towards, but it is the journey that matters in the end. By Ursula K. Le Guin. Preparation. Stairway to the soul. Many men go fishing all of their lives without knowing that it is not fish they are after. Henry David Thoreau. A flash of light. One night, years ago, I fell into the depths of despair over a woman I loved and was losing. We had been married for 6 years and were living in a cottage at Stanford University, where we served as dormitory directors. My wife had become enamored with a handsome tennis player. When he entered our cottage to speak with her, as students did on occasion, her eyes sparkled as they no longer sparkled for me. They spoke and laughed into the night, lost in conversation. I went to bed but slept restlessly, waiting for her to join me. I awoke at 2 a.m., still alone, unable to sleep any longer. In a dark, disheartened mood, I rose, threw on a shirt and pants, and walked toward the front door. They were still sitting together on the couch. "I'm going out," I muttered, grabbing my car keys, hoping she would show some concern, even ask him to leave. She said nothing. Waves of rejection, worthlessness, loss, jealousy, and most of all self-pity washed over me as I got in the car. I also felt foolish and weak. Why didn't I tell him it was time to leave? Why didn't I grab her and say, "Enough, this isn't right"? But how can one control the affections of another? In this desolate mood, the closest I had ever come to feeling suicidal, I drove aimlessly through the night, ending up in a wooded grove. I stopped the car and stared out the window at the earth, muddy, puddled with rainwater. No reflection stared back, only blackness. I didn't know where to go or what to do. Then it happened. My awareness suddenly shifted of its own accord. Words fail me here, but at the precise moment I could no longer stand pain. My consciousness exploded, leapt, broke free, and I was touched by God. The pain, and this is important, hadn't gone away. The circumstances of my marriage and my life remained the same. Yet, I had changed in my relation to it all. Suddenly, it didn't matter what was going on inside my mind or emotions. The hurt feelings remained, but there was no I to suffer them. My feelings and thoughts no longer seemed to mean anything. They had no significance, power, or influence. I was free, free of time, existing not in the moment, but as the moment. From that state of grace, that transcendent awareness, extending beyond the confines of my personal feelings, I thought of my wife and her friend, and was overwhelmed by compassion for them both, and for all beings. No, it was beyond compassion. It was a sense of resplendent empathy, of unity. I was not separate from them, or from the trees or the stars. I began to laugh uproariously, as if life were a cosmic joke, and I had just gotten the punchline. If someone had found me in the woods that night, they might have mistaken me for a crazy man. The irony was, for the first time in my life, I felt completely sane. I looked around. The night seemed filled with light, reflecting the light within me. Eventually, the light faded, and the realization passed, as all things pass. In the months and years that followed, I sought to recapture that sense of unity and divine perfection. I yearned for the light as one might long for a lover. I tried meditation, visualization, seminars, soul-searching, and self-analysis. I had insights and experiences, but nothing matched that simple illumination in the forest grove. Still, the impression of that experience served as a template of possibility, and I believe a preview of our collective destiny. It also served as a catalyst in my life, generating within me the desire to share what I had learned. My quest began to shift from what I could get to what I could give. I knew that ancient schools and religious traditions had devised their own methods of personal and spiritual growth, from yoga to meditation to prayer. So I traveled and read and studied, not for my own sake, but to gather gifts I could share with others. In the end, I found the answers I sought out, not in temples of the East or schools of the West, but here and now, in everyday life. The most important understanding that emerged from my experience that night in the forest was that peak experiences fade, and that if I was to make a real difference, I would have to find a universal path, free of exclusive dogmas or cultural trappings. I needed to find a way less dramatic, but more lasting than my experience years before. All signs pointed me to everyday life as a spiritual path and practice, and to the 12 gateways. I use the terms personal growth and spiritual growth interchangeably because we are spiritual as well as physical beings. And as we mature and grow personally through the challenges of everyday life, we also evolve toward a deeper awareness of our spiritual nature. 12 gateways to spiritual growth. If we never suffered pain or loss, if death did not await us, we might never need to seek a higher understanding, might never wonder about the soul, the hereafter, or the ultimate meaning of life. But life is brief, a flash of lightning, a snap of eternity's fingers. So we question and wonder. While striving for a successful place in the material world, our path eventually leads to the arena of spiritual growth and discovery. We sometimes seek spirit in churches, temples, or revival tents, but we don't always encounter it there. Some of us look for spirit in a bottle or a pill, leading either to an early death or an unconscious life. Others seek inspiration in sports or sexual relationships. Yet all the time, spirit has been waiting for us, calling to us, right here, right now, in everyday life. A man once wrote to me, "I want to make time for more spiritual practices, but I have a wife, 3 kids, and a full-time job." He hadn't yet realized that his wife and children and work are his spiritual practice. A practice far more challenging and rewarding than sitting in a cave and meditating. I know because I've done both. Everyday life is our spiritual school. As you see your reflection more clearly in the mirror of daily life, you will come to know and accept yourself as never before. As you learn from the natural experiences of your actions, you will find the wisdom necessary to progress on the path of personal and spiritual growth. As an athlete and coach, I learned to divide goals into distinct, manageable steps. First, I applied this method to finding the qualities that constitute a talent for sports. Then I explored the qualities that generate a talent for life, blending elements of psychology, ethics, and values, spiritual principles, and practical wisdom. I found a complete map of the territory of personal growth and everyday enlightenment. The premise of this book is that human evolution, whether we call it personal or spiritual growth, necessarily involves a passage through 12 gateways, like a school from which we graduate after passing 12 core subjects. 12 seems an auspicious number. After all, there are 12 hours on a clock, 12 inches to a foot, 12 months of the year, 12 days of Christmas, 12 signs of the zodiac, 12-step programs, 12 labors of Hercules, 12 jurors to dispense justice, the 12 tribes of Israel, 12 gates to the city of Jerusalem, and the 12 disciples of Jesus. In some circles, the 12 disciples is a metaphor for the 12 disciplines of life presented in this book. Inward spiritual practices such as meditation, breathing techniques, and self-analysis generate insights and enhance abilities, but none are so useful as learning to live harmoniously in a committed relationship, being a skillful parent, or juggling the demands of daily life. Spiritual practice begins on the ground, not up in the air. The 12 gateways form our stairway to the soul. When people ask me abstract questions about time or space or reincarnation, I may respond by asking whether they exercise regularly, eat a wholesome diet, get enough sleep, show kindness to others, and remember to take slow, deep breaths on occasion, because it seems important to bring our spiritual quest down to earth. Of course, there's nothing wrong with philosophical Of course, there's nothing wrong with philosophical speculation. Okay, back that up. Start over. Inward spiritual practices such as meditation, breathing techniques, and self-analysis generate insights and enhance abilities, but none are so useful as learning to live harmoniously in a committed relationship. Being a skillful parent or juggling inward spiritual practices such as meditation, breathing techniques, I forgot the video's going in, I'm recording it. Oh my gosh. Starting over at that paragraph. Inward spiritual practices such as meditation, breathing techniques, and self-analysis generate insights and enhance abilities, but none are so useful as learning to live harmoniously in a committed relationship, being a skillful parent, or juggling the demands of daily life. Spiritual practice begins on the ground, not up in the air. The 12 gateways form our stairway to the soul. When people ask me abstract questions about time or space or reincarnation, I may respond by asking whether they exercise regularly, eat a wholesome diet, get enough sleep, show kindness to others, and remember to take slow, deep breaths on occasion, because it seems important to bring our spiritual quest down to earth. Of course, there's nothing wrong with philosophical speculation, but let's not mistake conceptual thought for the spiritual practice of everyday life. After all, what does it serve to know whether angels wear earrings if we can't hold a regular job or maintain a long-term relationship? What good does it do to pray like a saint or meditate like a yogi if we are unchanged when we open our eyes? What good to attend a place of worship on Saturday or Sunday if we lack compassion on Monday? This point struck home early one morning 25 years ago as I sat in peaceful meditation until my 3-year-old daughter, Holly, tugged at my pants leg, wanting my attention. I hissed angrily, "Don't bother me, I'm meditating." In the next instant, I realized that I had missed the entire point of spiritual practice. That picking up and hugging my daughter was a more important spiritual practice in that moment than chanting my mantra. The gateways, a higher purpose, the liberation of attention. Most of us experience God or Spirit, terms I use interchangeably, as a sense of inspiration. Each time we feel uplifted or inspired, we are touched by Spirit. In fact, Spirit surrounds and interpenetrates us in every moment. Spirit is always present. Just as the sun is always shining above the clouds, our lack of inspiration is not the absence of Spirit in our lives, but rather a lack of awareness. From a conventional view, everyday enlightenment helps you create a more fulfilling life. The awareness generated by this book will reduce or eliminate self-sabotage, strengthen your will, lead to improved energy and health, help to create financial stability, and increase your compassion, perspective, and humor, leading to more loving relationships. But do you truly believe that a satisfying relationship, money in the bank, or good health are in themselves the ultimate purpose of life? Or is there something more? I propose that the something more involves a unifying spiritual theme, your evolution up through the 12 gateways. Psychologist Abraham Maslow once proposed that we need to satisfy or resolve lower needs in order to address higher ones, ultimately leading toward what he called self-actualization. In other words, until we have addressed survival and safety needs, we don't have attention or energy for higher social or spiritual concerns. As you resolve the issues of each gateway, you release attention previously bound by those issues. When attention is free, it rises like a balloon to higher levels of experience. The challenges of life remain, but your perception and awareness becomes bright and clear. Thus, the higher purpose of each gateway is to free your attention so that you become capable of seeing spirit everywhere, every day, in everyone, and in everything, leading to everyday enlightenment. Life is denied by lack of attention, whether it be to cleaning windows or trying to write a masterpiece. By Nadia Boulanger. Imagine hiking up a mountain toward the summit of your potential. You begin with a knapsack filled with 12 heavy stones. As you pass through and resolve the challenges of each gateway, money concerns, health issues, relationship problems, you release one of the stones, becoming lighter as you ascend. Although the climb can be difficult, the higher you rise, the more wondrous the view. Because you see the bigger picture, you begin to perceive and appreciate the bright reality that exists here and now. The same magical world you saw as a wide-eyed infant, gazing into the mystery at the soul of life. And as your awareness ascends farther up this stairway to the soul, these so-called mystical states begin to occur naturally. Through the gateways to everyday enlightenment. In the final section of this book, I articulate the practice of everyday enlightenment, the core and culmination of my teaching work. It's natural to want to skip ahead to that section. After all, in everyday life, different issues emerge day to day, moment to moment, in random order. But in this book, the order of the through the gateways to everyday enlightenment. In the final section of this book, I articulate the practice of everyday enlightenment, the core and culmination of my teaching work. It's natural to want to skip ahead to that section, or to those gateways that seem most relevant to your life right now. After all, in everyday life, different issues emerge day to day, moment to moment, in random order. But in this book, the order of the gateways is not random or arbitrary. I urge you to explore them as presented, because each gateway helps us to prepare you for those that follow. Discover your worth opens you to fully use the other gateways. Reclaim your will provides tools to transform what you learn into what you do, to apply the practices presented in Energize Your Body, thus building a foundation to manage your money and achieve financial stability. Further freeing attention to observe and tame your mind. Insight into the nature of the mind helps to open inner sight so that you come to trust your intuition, thus helping you to accept your emotions and create more harmonious relationships, empowering you to face your fears. Armed with the secret of courage, you ascend the stairway to the soul to illuminate your shadow and reintegrate denied aspects of yourself, thereby liberating attention and energy once trapped in defending your self-image. In Embrace Your Sexuality, you find deeper pleasure and intimacy by transcending both self-indulgence and self-denial, leading upward to awaken your heart and turn love into action as you serve your world, thereby completing the circle of life. Each gateway begins with a preview of the roadmap of the path ahead. However, Instead of piling one point on top of another in building block fashion, I create overlaid themes and counter themes that build upon another, more like composing a symphony than constructing a building. This may at first seem confusing to your left brain, but it has an oddly stimulating effect on your right brain. And in the end, I hope it will play for you in near perfect harmony. Since these gateways clarify how to live a sane and balanced, healthy, productive life, they are compatible with religious teachings. Still, some ideas here may stir the kettle of controversy, even provoke disagreement. This seems natural and appropriate, since no practice is right for everyone. If we agree on everything, only one of us is necessary. Take what is useful and discard the rest. Read with healthy skepticism. Test these ideas against your own experience. My interest is not that you trust me, but that you trust yourself and the process of your life unfolding. These gateways apply to each and all of us. No matter how different our appearances, cultures, or beliefs, we share a common quest for meaning. No one is exempt, and no one is excluded. Taken together, the 12 gateways provide a direct path to your hidden promise and potential, a way to reconnect with your soul's deepest yearnings. As you travel through the pages of this book, expect to find an expanded sense of purpose and direction toward the summit of human experience. Before you can live the spiritual truths at the heart of your existence, as you take this journey, you have the opportunity to reflect upon your past, consider your future, while living fully in the present. Welcome to the path of the peaceful warrior, where every day is life's journey and an adventure. The road is open, your destiny calls. Spirit waits with infinite patience.